All right, let's talk about what Adobe Aero can do. It's pretty interesting, but before we get started about the how-to for this project, let me show you what the end item looks like. So I have a room, I'm going to put a character in it, we're going to tap on the character bubbles, and we're going to experience augmented reality right in front of our eyes. Let's check it out. So here we are with the app that's on our phone, and we're placing the character into the right place within the room. And we're in preview mode right now. We're in edit mode. I'm going to switch to preview mode. And let's check out what happens with our character.
Hello and welcome! There's one thing you need to know about this room. Would you like to know what it is? Oh, the curious type. Well, this room is where the famous book, Action First Learning, was published.
Okay, as this finishes up, let's go ahead and jump into Adobe Aero. Okay, so here I am in Adobe Aero, and you can see in installed apps, I've got Aero. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to invite me to open it. I'm going to click on continue, and it's going to open up my Adobe Aero, which will allow me to create a project. And so I'm going to go new file, and I'm just going to call this welcome to the room. So there you have it, welcome to the room. And we could do surface anchor, which we put it into like a floor, table, desk. That's what we're actually going to do. You can have a location anchor, which can be at a specific location, or an image anchor, which is specific image. But we're going to do surface anchor, so let's create that. And here we are in the environment. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a directable character. I'm going to click on the character. I'm going to go down to Zahara. I'm going to click on Zahara, and there is my character. Now notice I'm using the scroll wheel on my mouse, but it's a huge character. So we can reduce the character using these elements over here. So one of the elements is move. I don't want to move the character, it's fine. I can rotate the character. What I really want to do is scale the character. I'm going to click on scale, and notice now it's little squares, and if I take the green square and move it down, there you go, there's my character. So these all allow me to do elements. So for example, I can move my character if I would like. I could scale the character as you've seen, and I can even rotate the character. So if I click on the character, I've got my circle. I can rotate the character in the direction that I want. I'm going to keep the character right there. These down here, so these actually move it. These allow me to view without moving or changing my scene. Very helpful as you're trying to look around and see what's going on. So you can pan in and out. You can do the rotation that you saw, and you can do a dolly where like I'm moving in and out and in. Okay, so that's my character. That's what I want right now. Now, we need something to happen. So Adobe Aero is really a place to assemble assets. So let's bring in some assets we can use to create our little AR scene. Okay, so let's go up to this little arrow in a circle. Click on that. That's for import. We're going to import some elements, and I've got some elements that I want to import. So I'm going to quickly go here. I'm going to go to my pictures, and I'm going to go to AR. I've kind of set this up. You can see a bunch of elements that I have. So one is a welcome JPEG that I created. So we'll go ahead and bring that into our scene. And here it is. And I'd like to move that. Now, it takes some getting used to. Like I want to click here and move this, but I can't. I need to go over here and make sure I click on the move, and then I move it by the arrows, and I'm going to move it over here so it's right beside Zahara's, head. And if I click on orbit, I can see that it's lined up with her. So that's pretty good. I've got her lined up. So that's fantastic. But I don't want her to say welcome right away. I first want that to be hidden. So in order to add elements and activity to your AR environment, you have to click on this running figure down here. It's called Behavior Builder. We click on that, and now I'm in Behavior Builder. So Behavior Builder works on something called triggers. Once I click a trigger, something happens. So the very first thing I want is when you first come in, when you start, I don't want this welcome message to be there. I want you to have to click on Zahara to get the welcome message. So I'm going to click on action, and the first action I'm going to do, and there's lots of actions, is I'm going to hide. So what am I going to do? I'm going to hide the welcome when you first come in. But then I need it to occur. So I'm going to put a trigger, and the trigger is going to be when you tap. And who do you tap? Well, when we're not tapping welcome, I want to tap Zahara. So let's come over here, see tap. The subject is welcome. Actually, I want the subject to be to Zahara. So it's going to show me all my subjects that I can interact with. I click on Zahara and I'm going to do an action, and the action is going to be show, and I'm going to show the welcome transparent. And you can always test this out with preview. So let's click on preview, and now I'm in the preview environment. I'm going to click on Zahara, and there's hello, welcome. So now we've done our first action and trigger. What we've done is we've brought in an element. Let's see what we've done. We've brought in an element here, which is the welcome. We hide the element initially because we don't want it there. And then based on the tap, we show that particular element. So now we're going to bring in a number of other elements. We're going to initially hide them so they're not there right away. And then we're going to use a series of taps to reveal them. So let's get started on that. Okay, so not only do we want welcome to appear, but we also want an audio file to say welcome. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to click play audio. And I actually have an audio that can be played as well. So what's going to happen is it's going to say welcome, and it's also going to play the welcome audio. But notice here, it's not happy because I don't have an audio clip selected. So I come over here and I click on my import audio, and it has some pre-selects, but I actually want to select a file that I created. And I'm going to go into my AR folder, and in my AR folder, which is in pictures, and then there's AR. I have a number of MP3s. It takes MP3 or WAV. One is welcome. Let's click on the welcome. Okay, now it's going to play it. So let's go ahead and preview that, see what happens. Okay, I'm going to click on Zahara.
Hello and welcome.
So I hope you could hear that. She said hello and welcome. So now I've got two assets in there. I have an asset that is an image and an asset that is audio. So let's add some more assets to what we're doing. Now let's add another speech bubble. So we'll click here, and I have another of speech bubbles, and I have the welcome already, and I want one to ask about the room. So I'm going to click here, and then that asset comes in. And here's that asset. Now I can't see it very well. So a couple things you can do. You can use your mouse here, and you can move down so you can see a little bit better. And you also can order items here. So if I like Zahara where she is, I don't want her to move. I'm going to click on lock, and maybe hello, welcome. I think that is lock as well. And then I can grab this item most easily, and there it is. And I can move it, and then I can move that item up, and I can move that item over, and I kind of want it to be right on top of that. And it said, would you like to know what it is? So in this particular element, it says hello and welcome, and then she's going to say something exciting happened in this room. So I have this element, but I don't want it to be next. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to bring in another element, and that element is, let's grab this chat GPT element here and see what that is. And I'm going to move that element over here, and we can read it. It says, there is one thing you need to know about the room. Ah, okay, that's what I would like to do next. And then I'll ask, would you like to know what it is? So let's click on, there's one thing you need to know. Let's make sure we get it into the right place. And here it is. Maybe move it over just a bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle, I'm going to orbit it to make sure it's kind of aligned. Yeah, there we go. It's aligned, so that's good. So there's one thing you need to know about this room. And I'm going to, as I go along, I'm going to build this. You could wait to the end. It depends on how you like to build things. But I like to do one at a time. So I want to make that transparent, because that's the ChatGPT image. I want to make that transparent. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to hide this as well. And I'm going to hide that. So it knows that I have this object selected. So it knows that it's going to hide that. And then I want that actually to appear after you click on the first bubble, which is welcome. So I'm going to click on trigger and I'm going to trigger a tap. And you're going to tap on the first item, which is the welcome. So let's go ahead and say welcome. So when you tap on welcome, what it's going to do is it's going to first hide welcome. So I want to hide the welcome. And then I want to do an action, which I want to show, and I'm going to show my ChatGPT image. So that should be good for that. And then actually I also have, if I click on action, play audio, I have an audio as well. Would you like to know what it is? So I click here, I select my audio file, and this is going into my documents, which I don't want. I want to go into pictures, and I want to go here to my files, and there you go. Would you like to know what it is? Okay, so there we have it. Let's try a preview and see what happens. So I forgot to hide that. That's okay. We'll tap on Sahara,
Hello and welcome.
and then we'll click on Hello and Welcome.
Would you like to know what it is?
There you go. So I did not do the right audio with the video. There is one thing you need to know. So let's go ahead and change that. So we come back here and here is my audio that I don't like. So I'm going to click on here and I'm going to go back to my pictures. I'm going to go back to here and there's one thing that happened, and so this is the need to know MP3. Okay, so I switched it. So it's really easy to switch. And so let's go to our preview again and see what happens.
Hello and welcome. There's one thing you need to know about this room.
There you go. So I've got those two items there. Again, I'm going to have to hide this, but that's the next thing. Would you like to know what it is? But you can see the preview is really helpful for getting your thoughts and your images and all of your assets in line. Okay, so let's do a little cleanup. We said before that we wanted to hide that, so I'm going to use my tool here, my select tool, and I am going to click off of that. I'm going to select this. I want to make sure I get that. Oops, I might need to. There we go. Got it selected. I want to hide that. I'm going to click on here. I'm going to click on hide. And there I'm hiding it, the would you. And so now I want to move it in the right position. And again, I'm going to orbit to make sure I have them all aligned. Perfect. Okay, then I'm going to, once you tap on the welcome, and it shows the GPT, I'm going to trigger that. I'm going to, you're going to tap on actually the GPT, and I'm going to do the same thing. What action is going to happen? I'm going to show, and I'm going to show the would you, and I am actually going to play an audio. So I hit play audio, I click here, I go to my file, I have to go up here to my pictures. Why I have audio and pictures, that may be a mystery. And would you like to know? And so now, again, I'm going to preview this.
Hello
Click.
and welcome. There's one thing you need to know about this room. Would you like to know what it is?
Oh, I forgot to hide the other one so you can see it's over. That's not a problem. So I can come down here and I say, oh, okay. What happens is it's gonna, that's gonna show up, but I need to hide this. So I'm gonna do a hide and I'm going to hide the chat GPT. So I want that to be hidden when I show this. So again, let's preview, tap,
Hello and welcome.
tap,
There's one thing you need to know about this room.
tap.
Would you like to know what it is?
And there you go. So now we've got that sequence. So now I'm going to give the learner the choice of yes or no. And we're not going to import assets for that. We're actually going to use assets that we already have. So if we shrink this here by clicking on that little arrow, we can see here we have letters and symbols. So let's click on letters and symbols and we have some simple letters. So let's use those to our advantage. let's spell out the words yes and no. So let's go ahead and find no. So there's an N, so we'll click on that. I'll put an N in there. Maybe I want to move that N. So I'm going to have no over here. And then, of course, O. We'll have O, and then I'm going to move O over here. So that's my no. And then let's spell out the word yes. So we need to find the Y. You could do it in any order and move them around. I'm going to just do it in the order of the word. So yes is going to be here. Y, let's go up for, oops, let's go up for E. That's going to bring our E in here. And again, we have the move, and then we're going to do the S, and then we'll have yes. So now we've got it. So that's fantastic. Now, one of the things that you might want to do is say, I don't like where they are. I want to relocate them. But the problem is I would have to relocate every letter, and that seems a little more than I want to do. So we can actually group these together, which is going to be very helpful. So here's how you group. You're going to hit Shift and hit the Y, the E, and the S. So I've got them all. You're going to come over here where it's got this duplicate, it's got this group, it's got this align, it's got an element about automatically rescaling, something about reverting to original size, and also even replacing items, but we're actually going to group. Let's group that. And now look at that. We have a group that we can manipulate. And if we click here on that little arrow, we can see everything that is in our group, a Y, an S, and an E. So now as we move this, it's going to move as a whole group. Very helpful for moving things back and forth. Notice here the N, if I move that, is not grouped with the O, so it moves by itself. So it's really critical to use groups, really helpful to do that. So we could click, again, Shift. I already have the N selected. Now I'm just going to select the O. And now I have both of them. I'm going to come over here to the group, and I'm going to click on group again. And now I have a group 1, which is my no, and my group, which is my simple group. So very helpful for doing that. And now we're going to add a trigger to both the yes and the no. But before we add that trigger, let's hide our group. So let's come here and click on hide. And we want to hide group 1, and we also, let's click on yes, want to hide group 2. So let's click here, let's go to hide, and we're going to hide that group as well. So when you first come in, they are going to be hidden. So that's what we want to do. However, when we ask the question, would you like to know, we may want to actually show them. So let's click here and let's show, and now let's show the group, and also let's show group 1 as well. So let's move that to group 1. Again, we could show individual letters, but I kind of like it as a group. And there we have it. So let's go ahead and preview this. We'll click on Sahara,
Hello and welcome.
tap on Hello, Welcome,
There's one thing you need to know about this room.
tap here,
Would you like to know what it is?
tap here. Okay, so let's go back then to our items. I think I might want that yes and no maybe to appear when I actually click on it. So maybe I'll delete this, and do another trigger. So I'm going to trigger when you tap on would you know, so let's go ahead and change this. I don't want the group, I want the actual um, would you like to know? And so I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to actually add the trigger. So sometimes that's helpful. I'm going to tap on would you know? And the action is I'm going to show, and I'm going to, what am I going to show? I'm going to show the groups, right? So I'm going to show when you tap on would you, I don't want to show would you, I want to show the group. So I'm going to go group, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to show, and then I'm going to do the group, the first group, group 1, which is right there. Okay, so now I've got all this to happen. And then I'm going to have it when you tap on, let's say you're going to tap on yes. So I want to turn that to, I think group 1 is yes. Let me double check on that. Group 1 is no, so I want yes. So yes is group. So I'm going to come down here, and when you tap on group, what am I going to have happen? I'm going to play a little audio. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go find that audio, and we're going to play that audio. So the subject is going to be the would you, because would you like to know? I'm going to click here. I'm going to go find that audio file, and it's up here under pictures, as we recall, and I want the yes. There you go. And so now, yes, it's going to play that yes audio. And then also, if you tap the group 1, which is, if you recall, would be no. So let's go to our group 1, which is way down here. If you tap on that, I'm going to play the audio. The audio I'm going to play here is going to be for the no. So it's group 1, click here and find the no audio. So I'm going to go up here again to my file. I'm going to click here. I'm going to find my no audio, and there you go. So let's see what happens when we preview this. Okay, so there's Sierra standing there. We'll click
Hello
on.
and welcome.
She says hello and welcome. So I'm going to click on that.
There's one thing you need to know about this room.
And even though I'm clicking, it's actually you'll tap on your phone.
Would you like to know what it is?
Oh, yes, I would. So let's click there. Would I like to know what it is? Yes and no. If I click on yes,
Oh, the curious type. Well, this room is where the famous book Action First Learning was published.
or if I click no.
Okay, no problem. Have a nice day.
So there, I have my options to do that. So that allows me to have the scene where I actually allow the learner to make a choice. And then I can actually also, if I want to, so let's say that if you tap on, let's click on yes. So yes is our group 1. If you tap on that, I want also, is our group, not group 1. I also want the no. I'm going to hide the no, right? That's your last chance. So if you tap on that, we're going to get rid of group 1, no. And then down here, if you tap on group 1, we're going to hide just group, which is yes, if you remember that. So that should work as well. So kind of exciting that you can come in, add all these elements, and do all this exciting action. And the last action I want to do is I actually want to, when you click on yes, have the cover of Action First Learning spin around. So let's go trigger. And well, wait a minute, I haven't imported it yet. So let's go up here. Let's find our image, and we'll import that image. So let's go ahead and do that. So there's our item. We can't see it here. It is. So let's do this. Let's move it atop of yes. So when you click on yes, we're going to have that appear. So if you remember, group 1 is yes, and the action is going to be to show, and we're going to show Action First Learning. So let's see all of this in action. Oh, forgot to hide it. Good, I'm glad you remembered that. So we'll come down here and we'll go hide. I do that all the time. Action First Learning. Okay, now we should be good. So let's see. We'll tap on Zahara.
Hello and welcome.
We'll tap on the welcome.
There's one thing you need to know about this room.
We'll tap on this.
Would you like to know what it is?
We'll tap on this. There's our yes and no. We'll tap on yes.
Oh, the curious type. Well, this room is where the famous book Action First Learning was published.
And there's the book. It disappears, shows the book. So that's our entire sequence. So let's Okay, so one thing we didn't do is we didn't have the book spin, but that's pretty easy to do. I'm tempted almost to have you, kind of figure it out yourself. But all you can do is you can simply click on action, and you have lots of actions. One of them is spin. So I want to spin action first learning. So when we go in there, we can spin it and add some interaction, motion, animation to what you're doing with Adobe Aero. So there you have it. That's a quick little project in Adobe Aero. I wish you the best of luck on your own projects.